Stewart, Jupiter, and Indiantown, Martin County's Heritage Station.
Who is right? It's Friday, fun day. Opinions expressed are those of our show host, not WSTU or Treasure Coast Broadcasters. Any reproduction or reuse of this program without the express written consent of WSTU is strictly prohibited. And now, try it again. And now,
gentlemen, here's Johnny.
all right, there he is.
Here I are.
Yes, in the flesh. Gordon.
And good evening. Good evening, Martin County and Stewart and Port St. Lucie,
Yes.
southern part.
Yes.
And this is your host, John Campion from European Kitchen and Bath. I'm here on behalf of my staff. I have 2 locations, Stewart and Vero Beach, and we're 32 years serving the Treasure Coast, that's a long time. That's almost half my life.
Yeah, almost half. Almost half.
Almost half.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, I've only been here for 20. So,
Yeah.
Anyways, second generation. And I'm telling you, if you have not been in our stores, particularly the Stewart store, because that's where we are primarily broadcasting to down here.
Mm-hmm.
I even let Frank in there anytime he wants.
That's true.
As long as he's
They
wearing-
don't stop me at the door, which
No,
is nice.
the ladies love him over there,
Aw.
like all the ladies do.
Do they pat him on top of the head because they're taller?
Yes, a lot of them do. Yes.
This is true.
Good boy. Good boy.
They
good
ask him
boy,
to get coffee and a donut from the back.
yeah.
No, but we're there to take care of your everything we sell in the kitchen. We sell everything but the cabinets and the countertops.
Mhm.
But we sell all the sinks and accessories that go with that for your bar, utility, whatever. And then we have all the stuff for your bathroom, tubs and shower systems.
That could get quite sensual when you say they got all the stuff for the bathroom, because you could do that. The air jets in the tub and the showers above. You could really do.
Yeah, you could do
wow.
steam shower with
Right.
Bluetooth and
Okay, music, huh?
oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Nice.
yeah. You can
You can have Barry White in
You
your
know,
shower.
this isn't just your traditional little
Debbie,
bathroom
think about
store.
it. You can have Barry White serenading you in your shower.
That would be wonderful.
right.
see.
But
I like
but
it.
anyone can do that. You just have to get on with what you think in your mind, and John will sit down with you, and he will draw it out, and you guys will.
You just get in there. You can't have your ceiling more than 9 feet tall
All
in
right.
your steam shower.
Okay.
Okay. All
Okay,
right.
because one thing you don't.
Well,
wanna
I don't know. Do we have that many people 9 feet tall that they wouldn't fit in there? I know
only a
7,
couple.
6, or 8 foot, but
I know that Duke basketball just recruited 2 7'2" guys.
what? But they'd fit in there.
They'd fit in there, but the water would get cold before it hit their head. You only want that shower head to be a foot above your head.
Ah.
When you're
Oh, there
if
you
have
go.
a rain
That
head or
explains
something.
everything,
So
yeah.
that, yes,
Yeah.
that does. So
Yeah.
that's about it.
Okay.
So I've done my. Oh yeah, I forgot to say one thing.
Okay. One thing.
Toto,
Toto
Toto.
2.
Toto 2.
Right.
If you listen to Click and Clack on Wednesdays, Click is very enamored by his Totos at his house. And
Yes.
that's Todd. So
Yes. He truly is.
he is. He's great. He's
Can
my-
you explain to the listeners what a Toto is? Thank you.
Thank you, my pretty. No, it's a toilet, or it's a band, or it's a dog. Which one do you think it is, Deb?
She's gonna go with toilet.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's a good
because
move.
of the nature
No,
of the show.
Toto is
Yeah.
originated in Japan, and they've been around the world since 1980. They've sold 60 million washlet seats, the bidet washlet seat that I've
Oh, it's a
talked about.
bidet.
Well, it can
It
be,
can
but
be.
you have a toilet too.
Right. You have a choice.
That's why I say Toto too.
That's what, but
Toilet.
I would have never known. I would have thought of the Wizard of Oz like
Well,
you.
just come do a free tour through the showroom
Yeah.
and we'll.
Oh, and I can use it.
Well,
you
yeah,
can,
actually, there's a working one in their restroom.
Yeah,
Yes.
would you show you how to work the remote?
Yeah,
Okay.
Don't get it confused with your one for ESPN.
that's right.
Okay. All right, Deb.
Yeah,
You laugh.
we'll get a full demonstration.
That's why I'm such a silly man. Anyways, thank
But
you for
anyway,
listening,
that was a
everyone.
different twist on European kitchen and bath.
It
Yes,
is.
you remember when you're
It's-
standing European.
That's
That's true.
We must be
No.
American.
it's
Not everybody.
not
Well,
everybody. Not everybody.
Sorry.
Well, we have a
about that.
special guest in our
we
studio
do.
today, and we want to thank Marty Jacobson for coming in. He's with the Seniors Against Crime.
Seniors versus Crime,
You just
and
arrested me.
we're a special project of the Florida Attorney General's office.
Right. And so how does that work?
Well, back in 1989, the Florida legislature tasked the Attorney General to come up with a crime prevention program for seniors. You can imagine that there were seniors in Florida in 1989. And I was a part of that original task force of about 200 police officers around the state. And our job was to go out and catch bad people that did bad things to senior citizens. And since that time, we've evolved from one office to 32 offices in the state of Florida. And now, rather going after criminal prosecution, we focus on civil fraud and go after people who exploit senior citizens for con games, fraud, deceptive business practices, and exploitation. We have 32 offices, and we have 13 agents. I'm one of those agents, and over 200 part-time investigators that are all volunteers from all walks of life. A lot of retired police officers, homemakers, people from different businesses. I do recruit volunteers. I'm looking for some forensics accountants, if you know anybody, and any retired mafia hitmen that want to come to work.
Oh,
Because-
yeah. Are they good?
Oh, you kind of got to be silent on that, okay? You know, but we're very serious and tenacious about going after people that take advantage of senior citizens.
Yeah.
Since our inception, we've recovered over $42 million. Each and every penny has gone back to victims. We have no operation costs as far as tax dollars. We evolved and we became a 501c3 within the Attorney General's office. So we're completely funded by grants from criminal justice, from companies, from donations, and that's how we operate.
All right.
Our local office is in Port St. Lucie. We're inside the tax collector's office in Tradition, but we ask that you make an appointment because we are so busy. It would be hard for an investigator to put down their work to take a walk in.
Oh,
So
okay.
let me give you
Wow.
our phone number and our
Yes.
website.
Sure.
We're at 1-800-203-3099 and at www.seniorsversuscrime.com. And again, all of our services are free.
Wow. All right. So what's the most notable case that you've worked on?
Well, let me tell you, I was a Stewart policeman for 30 years and I was a policeman overall for 35. And I retired, and there was a couple things that happened. First of all, there was this metamorphosis that occurred in my life. And I woke up one morning and I was a senior citizen.
I
know,
hate when
I
that
did the
happens.
same
It was like a
thing.
butterfly coming out of a cocoon, you know. It's like, there I was. And I was seeing things happening to other people. And here I was retired. I said, well, maybe one day I could go back to work. And there was an incident in my life where my father had passed away. And I went to see his body before he was cremated. And ironically, my dad was a policeman for 35 years too. And I discovered a mortician had stolen his gold dental work out of his corpse, like the Nazis, pulled his gold crowns and his bridge work. Well, spent some time putting that guy in jail. And then I was offered a job with the Attorney General's office here. And I had been with this program since 1989. So they had an opening and I was recently retired. And I came back to work as a deputy director, supervising activities in our 32 offices around the state.
Nice.
Now,
Yes.
let me get into how we work.
Yes.
If I have time.
I
Okay.
definitely want to
When
hear
you
this.
call Seniors Versus Crime, we'll look at your complaint and we'll find the best service possible. It might be with us, it might be with another law enforcement agency or the Federal Trade Commission, the FBI, the Secret Service, but we'll try to give it the best service that we can. Now, what differentiates us between other agencies is a police department or sheriff's office needs probable cause to pursue a complaint, and they have to go to a state attorney and prosecute it before a jury, making sure there's no reasonable doubt. That makes it a crime.
Right.
We pursue civil fraud. So when a law enforcement agency says, man, we just can't come up with a probable cause, we can't get beyond reasonable doubt, but we know this happened, Seniors versus Crime can pick that up, and we pursue it as a civil fraud because we don't have those high standards that are required. But we're not putting people in jail. At Seniors versus Crime, we're mitigating for financial damages and try to make the victim whole and get them their money back.
Right, which is the big, I mean, that's the big loss for a lot of folks. They don't have money to begin with, and then they trust somebody and they give them some hard-earned money,
Yes.
and then it's gone and the project never got completed.
Yes. And then when you prosecute somebody, that doesn't mean you're going to get your money back either. You might get revenge, or someone's going to go to jail, and there's the potential to get money back. But our role is to focus on getting money back.
Right.
Now, I'll give you a sort of a tiered program. The next level up is called a 501 action, where the attorney general can fine a perpetrator $15,000. So when you get a lot of complaints for fraud or of those natures, they can decide, we're going to get money back immediately with a $15,000 fine. Next level up is litigation. It might be so many complaints and the propensity for fraud that they're going to litigate against the perpetrator. An example, a car dealership was ripping off senior citizens particularly, and they litigated and got $2 million back in litigation and gave every penny back to victims. Also, they recovered $400,000 in unpaid sales tax to the state of Florida.
Ooh.
And the next level up is criminal prosecution. We might get a case and look at it and say, this does have probable cause. And as we're working through it, we find different levels of schemes to defraud, and we will make it a criminal case. An example here locally is a company, and it's already public record, called Amore Pools. Have you heard of that?
Yeah,
Yes.
Port St.
Okay.
Lucie, right?
Well, the whole state of
Okay.
Florida.
All right.
Now, every law enforcement agency said, this is civil, we're not going to take it. And we're talking the entire state of Florida, okay?
Wow.
Hundreds of cases.
Hmm.
And they profess to be expert pool builders, but dug a lot of holes and didn't do much else. So when all these cases came to Seniors versus Crime as a remedy, because there was no probable cause, we worked up the probable cause and went to the state attorney and said, look, this is a criminal case. But it's not just in Port St. Lucie, it's in multiple judicial circuits. So they tasked FDLE, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, which is in our task force, to take it over criminally, and took it to a state prosecutor, not a state attorney, a state prosecutor. And one of the co-defendants got 30 years in prison as a result of that.
Wow.
The other co-defendant is waiting time in the Indian River County Jail, waiting for trial, and presumably they'll get the same sentence. And now, in the process, they're trying to liquidate assets from that company to redistribute to victims, throughout the state of Florida.
Right.
So that's a case that went from, a civil issue,
Right.
to beyond litigation, to a criminal prosecution. And now it's to the point where we're trying to get money back for its victims.
Wow.
Yeah, that's marvelous.
Well, and and then at that point, when you are addressing the defendants, you go, well, you owe them, we've got to find $10 million to go around, and these guys don't.
They don't have it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not there.
It's not there. It's gone.
It's gone. So I don't know how much relief those victims will get. But in most of our cases, I said, recovering $42 million since we started, we find a pot somewhere, to try to get people their money back. Some of the things that we see that are most prevalent here on the Treasure Coast is contractor fraud. I'm not going to name any companies because litigation and prosecution is in the process, but the scam is pretty much the same. People put down a large deposit on a home or a contract, a roof or something along that nature. And along the way, the business folds. The subcontractors aren't paid. Liens are put on the property. homes go into foreclosure because liens aren't paid. People can't get homeowners insurance because the roof won't pass inspection. So we deal a lot with that and criminalize a lot of those cases. And a lot of young officers don't know the ins and outs of some of those statutes, particularly 489-126, which says that if a contractor fails to fulfill their obligation within 90 days, that civil incident now becomes a criminal incident.
90 days.
Wow.
So 93 okay, so you need 3 months threshold to get your act together, get it done. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
we hear a lot of the nightmares, Marty, with our business because we have remodels going on.
Certainly.
Where people are doing, 3 bathrooms and a kitchen, and they give that deposit to the contractor and adios. I mean, that was real big stuff, especially during the hurricanes. But now, I mean, it still exists.
It still exists. And again, it's very prevalent, different scams and schemes along the way. Let me focus on a couple of them here. Let's talk about roofing, and people go to put on a roof and you try to use due diligence and hire a contractor. And what we see are the contractor will hire a subcontractor who may not even be listed in the contract. The subcontractor puts on the roof using day labor, and it doesn't pass inspection. But they file a lien on the house because it isn't paid, and it can't pass inspection. And the homeowner can't get homeowners insurance because it doesn't pass inspection. And if you have a mortgage and you don't have insurance, it leads to foreclosure. So we have to come in and back out all of those things and hopefully make the homeowner whole.
How many years ago was that foreclosure mess, particularly up in PSL? Was that?
It's ongoing. It's still ongoing.
Yeah,
There's companies there that are currently under indictment for all sorts of scams, selling lots, promising home builds and not fulfilling their obligations, subcontractors not being paid, liens being placed on properties. It's an ongoing scheme.
And that really hit its apex, after 2008?
The market crashed and people, but it's ongoing. It reinvents itself. Let me make a couple of recommendations, and probably a lot of contractors aren't going to be happy with me, and there might be a contract on me when I leave this show here today. Okay. If you're going to do a major build, we'll recommend getting a account in escrow. Let's say you need to put in $100,000, rather than giving it to that contractor, and he says he needs to pay salaries, buy materials, and things of that nature. Put it in an escrow account with your signature and his signature, payable upon completion of a passing inspection. He knows the money is there. It's earning interest while it's in the bank. And when that passing inspection comes, he gets a full check for the full amount. If he tells you he can't sustain the job without the money in his pocket, you might want to look for a different contractor.
Right. Interesting.
Good
So
point.
That's good information.
Where does the interest go?
Well, that's negotiable.
They could split it.
Yeah,
right?
split it, or you take it as the homeowner,
Yeah.
Give them an incentive to finish the job early, know.
I like it.
Yeah.
So it's negotiable. I like that idea.
Yeah. Let me throw out a case here and see what you think about it. A guy says he's going to build pool screens, and he'll give you the rock bottom price of $20,000 for a pool enclosure, but you got to pay up cash up front so he can get the materials at a discount. And you give him the 20 grand.
He's gone.
You haven't seen him in 9 months, but he has sold 200 pool enclosure screens at $20,000, bringing in $2 million. He comes back to you in 9 months and says, I couldn't get the materials, and he gives you a full refund. What's the scam?
Oh, he's making money on the interest.
Yeah, he put $2 million in the bank and made $5,000 at 5% and made $60,000 in 9 months.
Right.
With your money.
Right.
So what do we do about it? There's nothing we can.
Right.
Everyone's been made whole.
Right.
Wow.
So
You
we
just
see
borrowed
those.
your money. Yeah.
Wow.
That just goes to show you that thieves are smart, but they're stupid.
Right.
In the end.
In the end.
Well,
Well,
I
yeah.
agree. I mean, because you catch them.
Yeah. A couple local anecdotes here. A fellow receives an email that he inherited land in England, going back 400 years in his family genealogy. And the land's going to go up for public auction unless he bails it out and pays 400 years in back property taxes. Based on an email, he sends them $850,000.
Get out of here.
Yes.
Shut the front
in this
door.
community, in our community. And we're ready, willing, able to help him. But he doesn't want to sign the affidavit because it becomes a public record. And not that the things get published. We don't, actively throw these things out to the media. They're a public record. But he lost $850,000. He didn't want to sign an affidavit to try to get some help.
Wow.
Because he was embarrassed.
It was embarrassed.
Yes.
And we see a lot of that with senior citizens. They're ashamed. They don't want their family to know. They don't want their kids to know. So a lot of this stuff, it goes undetected.
Yeah.
With senior
I know a
citizens.
couple senior citizens, male and female, that have gotten scammed, and they start on Facebook or they start on one of the social medias, and
Mhm.
all of a sudden they're talking to each other, and all of a sudden one needs something, one needs to send something, whether it's a gift card or money, and it's like, I can't believe that people would even fall for that, and they do.
Right. Well, we had one today where a woman had something come up on her screen that her Microsoft needed work, and she turned her screen over to the person who was soliciting her, and very shortly thereafter, they tried to get into her bank account and get $95,000. And the only thing that shut it down was the perpetrator was on the West Coast and we're on the East Coast. And with a 3-hour difference, the bank had closed and didn't process it. And we're waiting to do it tomorrow morning. So she was lucky that we were able to stop it before the perpetrator can get into that account.
Have you? I'm sorry. Excuse me. Have you had any stuff yet with AI? Doing the voice stuff and all that.
Oh yeah.
We know what's coming our way, but we haven't had any official complaints yet from individuals. Some of the things that we see are more in your face. An example, another big area on the Treasure Coast here is automobile repair fraud. And a lot of senior citizens take their car into a place to, you were talking on a break about a spark plug incident, and you think you're getting what you need and they're overselling you for services. You didn't need a new transmission. All you needed was a spark plug in your car. So we see a lot of perpetrators taking advantage of senior citizens. Now, in the state of Florida, we have what we call the Motor Vehicle Repair Act. Anything over $100 requires your signature and authorized. How many times have you taken your car in for repair and they shove a piece of paper in front of you? Just need your initials here, 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 and here. You just signed a ranch away when you did that. Okay. You want an itemized list up front of what they say they're going to do, and you have to approve that. So if you go in for a $40 oil change and you come back with a $600 bill and you haven't signed for that, you're not obligated to pay for that. But there's a caveat. You have to take that bill to the clerk of the court, put that money into escrow. They give you a certificate. You take that back. The mechanic has to surrender your car without any payment. If he wants to be paid, he has 60 days to sue you in small claims court. If he doesn't give you the car back and he's going to kidnap it for that money due, it's called auto theft. And you call your police department and have him hooked up in bracelets.
Involved. Oh,
it sure does. But to see the general public doesn't know these things and you don't think about it, and you get sucked into a fatal funnel.
Wow. Good golly.
Well, you've heard it here, folks.
Well,
and we have more to tell, but I think we have to take a break, don't we?
We do.
So stay tuned. We'll be back.
We'll be
back.
We'll be right back. So stick with us. We're back. You're listening to Friday Fun Day. That's right, with John Campion from European Kitchen and Bath. We have Marty Jacobson in the house. Deborah Harsh is in the house. We got a full house.
Oh, how much do we win?
Full house.
How much was the bet?
It sure
I think
beats
a
a
full
straight.
house
Right?
beats
I'm your
a
ace in the
straight.
hole.
There you go.
There you go,
Good
Marty.
job, Marty.
I like it. Well
Ba-dum-bum.
done. All right.
Well, Frank knows I have another profession too.
Yes.
So I work
Yes.
stand up for 40 years, but different program.
Different program
Yeah.
indeed.
So we're talking about, senior citizens, and we have a lot of specialty units, and we focus a lot on veterans. A gentleman comes into our office and he files a complaint. He says, there's a guy that shows up in my Marine Corps league, and he's always wearing all his medals on his shirt, and we do that. This is like, this guy was in the Gettysburg and Battle of the Bulge and D-Day and Bronze Star with clusters and Congressional Medal honors. This is impossible, So he fills out a complaint. We look into it. And the guy has fabricated his DD-214, which is his military record.
Yeah.
Right. But there's a caveat. At Seniors versus Crime, we can only represent the victim. And in this case, the victim would be the Marine Corps and the VA. So the complainant isn't the victim. But he's written an excellent, excellent affidavit. So we take the complaint to the sheriff's office in that county, and the sheriff assigns a detective who was a Marine, Semper Fi, and we end up getting the individual a nice retirement package, 10 years in the state penitentiary for valor theft and
Wow.
fraud committed against the VA and the federal
So
government.
you just can't wear any medal you want to.
No, it's called valor theft.
Oh,
Or
wow.
do you want to? Or do you want to?
Wow.
Chest dependent on
I,
it?
I guess I better take mine off from Chesty Gabor and all of the pole dancers.
That's
That's
Come on,
right.
Don.
That's right. That's right, Deb.
So,
Wow.
so we try to find the best agency and don't let people walk out of the door unserved. And we hope we know where we're going. It might be the Office of Financial Regulation. It could be the FBI, the Secret Service, or other agencies. But our staff are prepared to take it to the best path it should go.
Right.
Another thing that we see is a lot of Medicare and Medicaid fraud. Those of you that are seniors, do you look at your bills to make sure you're only being charged for the things that you were serviced for? Or there are add-ons there for equipment, walkers, strollers, CPAP machines, things that aren't yours that have been padding the bill. You went to the hospital and there's for a heart condition, and there's a bill for a podiatrist on there because he walked by the room and signed the chart. We have a standalone investigative unit of law enforcement officers that investigate Medicare and Medicaid fraud. So if you suspect that, go online and report that, and potentially someone else will contact you and help you as well.
Now, Marty, I see on your card you've got you got some really good information on here. The website, which if you're out there and you're wondering how the hell do I start tracking this stuff down, that's the seniorsversuscrime.com.
Mm-hmm.
And his group that he's with is actually called Seniors Versus Crime. So
Yes, it actually is. It has been for a long time.
well, I understand that, Deb. Come over here, let me smack you a minute.
No, pick two. Poke me in the eye.
Let me separate you two. I'm not in uniform today, but I still have an obligation.
Yes, officer. No, but between that and the 800 number, which really is irrelevant at this point, I guess. And then I like that your email.
Well, thank you.
Who came up with that one?
I don't know, because I joined the agency in 1989. And, actually, I do know. It was Colonel Vern Thornton of the Broward County Sheriff's Office, who was our first executive director in 1989.
Does that say Deputy Dirt?
It's
Deputy DIR.
Oh,
Deputy
okay.
Director.
Deputy Director one.
Okay,
Yeah.
now I get it.
I know-
One. Yeah.
So today's Friday Fun Day, right, Frank?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I'll try to bring
Lighten
an
it up.
uplifting
Yes,
moment
okay.
here. I told my family, I was talking about the funeral fraud, and I don't want to be a downer, but I told my family that, when my time comes, just keep it cheap, get an $800 cremation,
Right.
and be done with it.
Right.
My
Shake
family,
and bake. Yeah.
my family is very respectful.
Mhm.
They got me an appointment for next Tuesday, so that's why I'm here today.
Okay.
That's great. That's great. Ba-dum-bum.
Along those lines, a guy comes to us, said he was in St. Martin, beautiful Caribbean island.
Yes.
And he walked into a spa with his wife, and for $6,000, they were going to turn her into a ravishing beauty.
Wow.
Well, he got home and he filed a complaint. He said his wife is still ugly and he wanted his money back. Sorry, dude. Not America. St.
No.
Martin's a different country.
It's a different.
Take
That's
it to
right.
their seniors versus crime if they have one.
That's right.
And we couldn't have it.
No.
You're in our country now. That's it.
A gentleman went to a dentist and paid $6,000 to have his teeth worked on, and the dentist worked on the wrong teeth. The dentist wanted $6,000 more to finish the job. Now, the complaint came to us, and we don't investigate medical malfeasance claims, but we did investigate the financial issue of it.
Mhm.
So Seniors versus Crime was able to remedy the situation. He got the other teeth fixed. He didn't have to pay the other $6,000. And the medical malfeasance was referred to the Florida Administration on Healthcare, or Florida Healthcare Administration. So we work with other agencies, to resolve some of these conflicts.
Are all the other agencies congenial with helping you?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Some of them are very overwhelmed with their own work, and I can't
So you
say
get
they
the
want.
sucking blows.
No, I don't
No.
say it's that bad, but
Yeah.
it's like, this isn't a priority for us at this time. Because they're overwhelmed with other things.
Yes.
And I'll give you an example. When
Yeah.
the hurricanes hit on the West Coast last
Right,
year,
right.
all the scabs came out, all the contractors and pseudo contractors came out. And it is a felony to falsely
Misrepresent yourself.
as a
Mm.
contractor
Yeah.
during a declared emergency.
Yeah.
So what we had is a lot of guys coming in and say, you need our new roof. And they get you to sign a contract for a new roof. And then they bid it out to a contractor. Well, they themselves were not contractors. They're front men for contractors.
A go-between.
Yes, a go-be, but it's illegal because you can't contract unless you're a contractor. So we had a lot of those cases on the West Coast, and some here too that we have to work through and put those people in jail.
And that's where it's important now with do the license numbers mean anything, Marty? Or
those are administrated by the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation. And believe it or not, we see a lot of fraud there too. We see people putting those licenses on their trucks,
right.
but it's not necessarily their license. It might be their cousin Vinny's company, and they're professing to be a licensed contractor, but they are not. And then, it's a hit and miss thing. You write a check out to this guy, and I have several of these cases right now. He's not the contractor. He's a front man selling contracts for roofing jobs or whatever, and that's against the law. That's a felony. You cannot profess to be a contractor and you are not.
Let's go get that jerk.
Well, not just one, many.
Yes.
There's many.
We had that problem in the beauty industry with nails, and early on they're all Oriental, so they would take their license and they would make copies and then put different people's pictures on them. They can't do that anymore. They make you laminate everything so that you can't steal someone else's license and number and go to work. They have no schooling. They don't know anything, and they're out there doing it.
Yeah. A local case, a gentleman hired who he thought was a contractor and put a $107,000 addition onto his home. It didn't pass inspection, and the municipal code enforcement cited the homeowner because we found out the guy was not a licensed contractor that did it, but he professed to be so and was stealing the identity of the real licensed contractor to build that addition onto the home. Subsequently, that addition, the municipality made him bulldoze that $107,000 home addition to the ground and cited him. Now, we helped him by getting the citation reneged because he was an innocent victim. But he thought he had used due diligence and vetted the contractor, only to find out it was a fraud. If that's my wife, I'll bring home lettuce and milk. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, Frank just has to bring home vegetables.
Yeah. So we see a lot of that.
Yeah,
And we work very closely with Florida Department of Business Professional Regulation, Department of Agriculture, Consumer Affairs, the Better Business Bureau, and we consort on all of these cases to see where they're going. Now, we have the authority to mitigate for financial damages. DPR can fine. Better Business Bureau collates data and information. And sometimes we'll say, hey, we got a case against Joe Smith's Plumbing. And we got 25 cases against them. They will relinquish their cases to us so we can proceed to get money back for the victims.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So
That's
we work
pretty
very
cool.
closely. And believe it or not, some people agency shop. They will come to us. They will come to all these other agencies and
He was
slam
going
the
to give
sy-
him the best job.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But we work together and we'll pull up the system. Said, you already have an attorney. We're not going to represent you if you have an attorney, or you already got an adjudication in court, and we're not going to go and duplicate everything else that's been done.
Relitigate something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
So,
Welcome to Florida.
well, I look
You
at
sure you
Stuart.
want to stay here, people? There's a way out. We can go
Yeah.
north.
I look at Stuart and I like the old musical, The Music Man.
Yes.
The guy comes to
Yeah.
River City.
Right,
Here we are
right.
surrounded by the river. What you need in River City is a band, and he sells them musical instruments, but nobody knows how to play them. That's us here.
Right
Our
here,
gullibility.
River City. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite plays.
Yeah. Well, I'm at a point in my life, having done this now for 44 years, I'm probably like you, John. I go home, give my wife a hug and a kiss, and check her for warrants, and then we watch Jeopardy. I
Well,
don't know what
first
she's
we
been
start with Wheel of Fortune.
There you
Yeah.
go. Well,
Yeah.
I might not get home that early.
Yeah, right. I get
Okay.
it. I get it.
So yeah, once again, we're at 1-800-203-3099, seniorsversuscrime.com. Go on our website. You'll see all sorts of help screens there. You can pull up our annual report, and it reads like episodes from Dragnet, and I wish we could do a television show on that.
Wouldn't it be fun?
Yeah, with single camera, and show how we help our senior citizens in Florida. And again, this is a free service. So, if you have an issue, call us, and we'll certainly be glad to help you out if we can.
Next time Marty comes in, you have to do the
Oh,
Dragnet.
Yeah.
Dum,
Dum.
dum. That's what we used to do
Yeah.
on Cop Talk.
Right.
Yeah.
Cop Talk, was that a show
Right.
you were
Yeah.
on?
Yes,
Yeah,
he
we was here in WSTU.
It was really good.
Oh, it's PIO.
Yeah.
Well, Frank, let me know if I have permission to continue on, or if you
Well,
run.
we're just about 2 minutes away from our next break.
Okay.
You still
And
have
then-
time.
Yes. And then
According to
Debbie
me.
wants you probably have a few things. that
Just a
you
few.
report on.
And I can do it really quick. Or,
Okay, we'll just do that, and then we'll finish up with Marty when we come back.
Okay. Should I go on?
Yeah, go.
Yes.
Okay. Daylight savings time. Turn the clocks back this weekend.
When
No,
do you do that,
no,
Deb?
no. We do it
Spring
forward.
forward.
Spring forward.
Of course,
That's
if you
right.
can turn them
Forward.
back, that would be.
That would be
You'd be
the,
late. You'd be late.
that's the one I
Church.
like the best.
You'd be extra late. for work,
Okay.
yeah.
The Okeechobee Rodeo is going on this weekend.
Yes, it is.
Juneau Art Fest is going on. We got ball games at the Met Stadium, Roger Dean, and in West Palm. Green markets everywhere from Fort Pierce to West Palm. And we have all the museums. And if you haven't been to the Elliott to see King Tut, make it a point.
Mm.
It's there till the beginning of May, sometime in May. It's worth it. And Kurt Whitaker has his display of paintings up in the gallery.
What is that there now?
Yes.
Is that what she told us?
Yep.
Okay.
I went this past week,
All right.
Monday, to see it. Kurt Whitaker is amazing. He
Mm.
at 106 he passed away.
Yeah.
Aw.
Why did he do that?
I don't know. We didn't want him
Must
to,
have been time to go.
but Whitaker Boatworks
Yeah.
is an icon here.
yes, it is.
Yeah. I know.
Mm.
Good
And-
people.
And you know, if you join the museum, you have access to so many museums. The Elliott, the Norton, the House of Refuge, you have Miami, you have Pompano, you have all over the state. You can go to their museums.
Everywhere you want to go.
Yes.
Hey, one thing I meant to ask her last week. Sorry about this, Marty.
It's all right. It's
Dragging
okay.
us through. Don't they have a baseball card collection?
Yes,
out
they
there?
do, and it's wonderful. They have a
Yes.
baseball room,
A baseball room. That's what I
right,
thought.
with bats and balls and cards that you can flick around and see who your favorite baseball player was.
And stale chewing gum.
It's a stale
if they,
chewing
if,
gum.
if they just put like what you can currently get for a Nolan Ryan rookie card, that's what I want to know. I have
That'd
five.
be nice if they had.
As long as you have enough money, you can buy anything.
There it is.
It's true.
Everything's for sale for the right
I need
price.
to borrow
Right.
some money, each of you. All right.
All right, we're gonna be right back. So stick with us.
Momentarily.
Yes. All right. Just
The
when you
story
thought
you were
it's
about
safe,
to see is true.
he's back.
The name happens to
They asked me to just stick to the facts.
Just the facts, man. Just the facts,
Okay,
man.
The story you're about to hear is true. Yes,
I
it
love
is. Yes, very much so. We mentioned before the break that during a declared emergency, when the governor declares an emergency in the state of Florida, and I hope we don't have any here on the Treasure Coast,
That would be great.
Just pray.
doing unlicensed contract work is a felony. Now, a lot of police officers might not know that because it's sort of obscure, but if someone comes knocking on your door after we've had an emergency and tries to sell you a roof or some other contractual work, and they don't have the appropriate license, that is a felony. They need to put on a pair of bracelets and take them away. A couple other caveats. The Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation has a program that if you file your complaint with them about a contractor fraud, they have a victims compensation fund. And the amount of the fund varies from time to time. But if you prevail on your complaint, you might be able to get a recovery through that victims compensation fund. If you apply and make a police report, those funds aren't available to people who file through a police agency. It's through DPR. So you might want to keep that in mind.
That's the Department of
Business and Professional Regulation.
That's me.
Here's another caveat. Contracts issued by unlicensed contractors are non-enforceable in Florida. So if you get a guy and he's trying to sell you a plumbing job, for instance, and he's an unlicensed contractor, and you have a dispute and he threatens to put a lien on your property, well, let's go back to the beginning. This contract is not enforceable because you are not a licensed practitioner in the state of Florida. So you can threaten me all you want, but I'm not going to pay you a dime because you aren't licensed.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Okay.
I like
Now, if that goes into a lien situation,
right.
it's also a felony to file a false lien. So if he were to file a lien on your property, he can't do so because he wasn't a licensed contractor to begin with.
Right.
Another scenario, a family get a PACE loan, a low interest government loan to put a roof on their home, and it's $27,000. They hire a contractor who, against the contract, hires a subcontractor who he sells the job to. The job does not pass inspection, but he demands payment of the $27,000. The loan agent on behalf of the government will not pay the contractor because it hasn't passed inspection. The contractor files a lien on the homeowner. We get involved, and a felony warrant is issued for the contractor. And the end of the story is the roof had to be stripped. The contractor had to redo it by himself and take the $27,000 in the shorts and lose the money because of all the problems that he created.
Right.
I'm not real proud of this, but locally, and I won't mention the name of the business.
Oh, come on.
No, I can't because it'd be disparaging.
Okay.
And it was initiated by an employee and not the owner of the company. But a senior citizen, 82 years old with Alzheimer's, drives his car into a tree and wrecks the car. He's not supposed to be driving. His license has been revoked because of the Alzheimer's. The car dealership sends a salesman to his home and sells him a car out of a catalog. The customer doesn't know his name from a pencil because he's so profoundly stricken with Alzheimer's. The family comes over and sees a new car in the driveway and says, "How's my dad, 82 years old with Alzheimer's, got a new car?" We can't help them because nobody has power of attorney. And that's one of the caveats. We have to deal with the victim. But we help the family get power of attorney for their father. And we go to the car dealership. And again, it's local. And I'm embarrassed. But we were pretty succinct and said something like this. If you don't buy this car back from this 82-year-old man, you will never sell a car to a senior citizen in this community ever again. They bought the car back on site.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the owner of the company didn't know the actions of his employee, who he fired, who instigated all of this, so that's why I don't want to disparage the dealership, because they did the right thing after a lot of grief and stress, but we see a lot of this stuff in the car industry, and we have a lot of complaints along those lines. In the meantime, a 52-year-old man walking down US 1 has mental health issues and has the IQ of about a 12-year-old. Gets called, and he likes to look at the cars on the way home from his dishwashing job every day. And he gets pulled in, and the salesman sells him a car. Okay. He doesn't have a driver's license and they sell him a car. We get involved and we have to get all of this resolved and protect that individual and reverse those kind of deals. So we see a lot of that here in our community, and it's embarrassing because I was a policeman here for 30 years, and went on. Now I have a much broader area of coverage, but I'm sort of embarrassed, that these things would happen in our community.
In our backyard, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
There is some caveats that we can use. One of them is called an injunction for relief. The legislature created a program where if you feel you've been a victim of a fraud, you can go into the clerk of the court and ask for an injunction for relief. And you fill out an affidavit. They'll waive the court filing fees. The sheriff's offices in the state will serve the summons to the perpetrator or alleged perpetrator, and you will get your day in court. You might go before a mediator, a magistrate, or even a circuit court judge. It's like the people's court to resolve that conflict with no cost to you.
Nice.
You wouldn't have to file through Seniors versus Crime or any other agency. It's called an injunction for relief. You are pro se, you represent yourself, and hopefully you'll prevail. And we see a lot of this with timeshare sales, vacation sales, contractual disputes. Someone suing you, you don't even know who they are. And these are ways that you can resolve this very quickly rather than coming through us or another agency.
Well, that's good to know. Yes.
Another thing we see are complaints against moving companies. Be careful. People will sign a contract and it's $5,000 to move your things to your new home. But then when you get there, it's $5,000 to take it off the truck because you haven't read the bottom line of the contract. And it says, "Ja znаю немного понимаю по-русски." It's in Russian, and you can't understand that, and they're going to hold your things hostage. So one of the remedies, and again, a lot of young officers might not know this, but to do that is a felony. If the officer shows up and the homeowner gives them a bill of sale or an estimate or other laden, shows the original price, they have to surrender that stuff and get it off the truck without taking it hostage.
Right.
Or quite often it's after the fact, and they're going to take that stuff, put it in storage, and charge you $100 a day, until
Plus what you owe them.
Plus what you owe them, right? But what the homeowner can do is go to the clerk of court and get a surety bond and get those things released immediately. Now, that doesn't absolve you of the financial obligation they say you owe them, but they have to take you to small claims court, to resolve that end of the move deal. So we see a lot of that as well. Talked about all sorts of things, Frank, and my host here, and it's just amazing that the things that we see, the variations of schemes and scams and frauds. It's just so prevalent. I don't know if I'll ever retire, but I talk fast because I'm very evangelistic. If those people would use half
their brain for something good, they'd be a millionaire.
Yeah,
yes.
Instead of trying to rip them off.
That's what I'm saying. Thieves are. I was talking about that today in my a meeting I was in, where I said the thieves. I think I said it here earlier. Thieves are. They're
right.
They're so smart.
They put the amount of energy into making money the legitimate way.
Right.
They'd be extremely.
Frank
wealthy.
knows the way I try to speak.
Yes.
Right.
Which is great.
Right.
I speak, John.
Let me talk a little bit more, if I could, on the car industry. A lot of senior citizens go in to buy a new car and they want to pay cash. They don't finance it. They're at that stage in their life where they don't need 7-year car payments. But what we're seeing here is a proclivity of many dealerships getting people to sign a credit agreement and then changing figures after the fact. Everything's done on a laptop today. People don't get a contract. And then we're seeing disputes where a $200 car payment becomes a $900 car payment, and they throw this document in front of your face that you never saw, but they changed it on a computer afterwards. So we're dealing a lot with that with the car industry.
That's terrible.
Yeah,
that really is terrible. Well, if you're going in to pay cash for a car, and then all of a sudden you got a car payment, there's a big problem there.
And maybe let me finish up here. Be careful about hiring home health aides. There is no such distinction in the state of Florida. There's no licensing. There's no vocation. You could be hiring a homicidal maniac to come into your home. We recommend
They
that.
need to be vetted.
Yes, and there are agencies out there that will do that. You may pay more, but they're going to do a background check and insure and bond those people. Because if you're hiring someone from a card you found in the laundry room, we're finding people that are missing jewelry, they're missing money, they're missing drugs, prescription drugs. We're even seeing estates being stolen with someone, doing a quick claim deed for someone who's very vulnerable. Well, I want to thank you and WSTU.
We want to thank you,
John.
We thank you.
And for letting me come in here and use up your time. And I
No, it's
appreciate
always
very much.
interesting.
Well, we
Amazing.
appreciate you being here.
You're a wealth of knowledge.
He is. So give Marty or his teammates a call at 1-800-203-3099 or see the website seniorsversuscrime.com. And we'll see you here next week. Casey Ingram will be our scheduled guest.
Ciao
So
for now.
Stick with us.
All right.